Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of Monster Musume no Iru Nichijou, or MonMusu, Chapter 45. And for this one, if I have to look down at my notes every now and again, there was actually a freaking ton of content in this one. Like, it didn't seem like it at first reading it, but then going back through and taking notes and stuff, there was a lot of content in this one. I probably can't remember all of it off the top of my head, and I don't want to forget anything or leave anything out, and I think it'll look a lot better just seeing me look down at my notes here and there than to actually have like me doing jump cuts like every few seconds just because of trying to remember each and every little thing. But starting off, we have the cover. I'm gonna get into that before I get into the actual story, and the cover actually looks really nice and really detailed. Not so much as some of the other covers we've had recently, and also not so much as 12 Beasts, so I know Okayado can do better. But I think also, I think 12 Beasts art has me spoiled, because I mean, that art is so good that like everything else I read at this point, I'm like, it does not look anywhere near 12 Beasts level. And like with MonMusu, it's like, you can see that with Okayado's style. It is just so detailed, and you can tell a lot of the stuff because it's a comedy he doesn't put as much into to make it maintain the comedy look, and it looks really nice. I like the style that Okayado uses for both MonMusu and 12 Beast. So though this wasn't as detailed, it did look really nice. I also think it's interesting to note that unless I'm missing her and unless I didn't see her, and I looked over the cover a ton of times because I was like, I really don't see her and I don't get it. But I didn't see Poppy on the cover, and no matter how many times I looked, and that would make her the only one out of Kudus and the sorry, there's like a gnat buzzing in front of my eyes. But that would make her the only one out of the main people living at the Kimihito household that isn't on the cover. Because we saw Lala's scythe, we saw Meru and Mia's tails, we saw Rhaenyra's legs, we saw Sue in the background, and then of course the main focus was Kudus and Saria. So it's interesting that we would have all of the main characters except for one, and Poppy was missing for whatever reason. Unless she's there and I just blanked out no matter how many times I looked at it. But yeah, so we start off the actual story with Saria and Kudus coming out of the hospital because, of course, Saria had got stung in the tit by a wasp last time, and we had the very, very lewd poison-sucking scene. But, of course, they were fine because it was just a wasp sting, really. Anything with my notes? Oh, yeah, we got to see a little flash to Saria's childhood, and I thought it was really hilarious how she was raised to be a knight and everything. It was just really funny. And then we have a flashback to Kira, and we find out that, well, before we actually get into the actual stuff she said, one of the first things I thought about Kira is I was like, how does she lay on her back like that? She has that, the thorax, or not thorax, the abdomen or whatever, that the bee wasp stinger on her back. I was like, how does she lay on her back like that? Because like one minute she'll have the giant ass stinger thing on her back and another minute she won't. So that was just a little tiny nitpick. But also she was not targeting Kudus the entire time. She was targeting Rhaenyra, because apparently, and we see the flashback, she was getting evaluated to come into the country legally, but Rhaenyra embarrassed her by tying her up, so she went into a rage, and because of her going into the rage, the people there deemed her to be a dangerous species, and she wasn't allowed legal entry. So then she had to use an illegal means to enter. And I thought it was really, really funny how she looked. I thought it was really, really funny, the stuff with her and Rhaenyra. And also, like, she looked really, really cute in the normal clothes, not in her, like, combat suit or whatever. But also, she still had the freaking chin thing. And you guys know I hate that freaking chin thing. So, yeah, like, she would be potentially favorite girl if it wasn't for that chin thing, because you guys know I like B-girls, but chin thing bothers me so much. But we also find out that since she entered illegally through that broker, she did enter with the other two, quote-unquote, dangerous species, but she says that unlike her, because she's only not allowed in the country because she flipped out and got angry one time, she's like, those two aren't like me. I don't like being around them. They're actually seriously bad. They're seriously dangerous. So that leads some more hype and more mystery into finding out who they are. But we jump back to the present time with Kudus and Saria heading home, and we find out actually that Saria has called MON to come and provide backup in guarding Kudus, because Smith was laughing. They were like, oh crap, they honestly did go after him. I was just kind of preparing for it just out of nowhere, but oh, okay, they actually did. So Mana's on their way there as well. So they go into the house, and it's a labyrinth inside, which I thought was really, really funny. I also thought it was funny how as soon as they go in, Saria is just immediately all into it. She is just ready for this whole thing, dressed in the night suit and everything. It was really funny. And then Poppy comes up, and Poppy's a tiny little fairy. I thought was hilarious. We see Mia as a princess, and I thought it was really funny too how Poppy was like, oh no, she isn't being held here or anything. She lives here. She's a monster that traps... she's like a monster that lures in and traps visitors, and Mia gets all pissed off at being called a monster. I thought that was really funny as well. So they go to walk away from them, and we actually get to see... Sorry, I was looking at my notes. We actually get to see Lala shows up all serious, like, oh, I am the guardian of this place, the harbinger of death or whatever. And I thought it was really, really funny how Kudus was like, oh, so Lala's essentially the same. I just thought it was funny how he thought she was pretty much the same. And then Mia shows back up, this time in her Shrine Maiden outfit. And again, I thought it was hilarious with Kudus. Kudus' straight man levels were 100% off the charts this chapter, where he was just like, oh yeah, Mia did get a job as a Shrine Maiden recently. These characters are getting really hard to keep up with. And I thought that was so funny, because like, I don't know, the way they broke the fourth wall and he like spoke for fans and stuff, it's really, really, it was good comedy. And Kudus played such a great straight man this chapter to everybody else's crazy off the wall stuff. And he usually does play it very well, because he's not like a complete boring straight man. He's a really good and interesting character that still plays the balancing role to all the craziness that goes on around him. So he just is a very well written character. I think when it comes to a comedy protagonist, especially a comedy like this, a sort of harem ecchi sort of comedy, I think that, or at least a deconstruction of the harem ecchi comedy, I think that he is a really, really well-written main character. So yeah, going from there, as those two go into fight, Rhaenyra pulls Saria and Kudus upstairs to what I think it's not 100% like... You're not really able to tell where in the house they are from where they are in the labyrinth area, but I would assume it to be Rhaenyra's attic where she lives is where she pulled him up to, and that led to what was, in my opinion, the funniest part of the entire chapter, where Saria's just so excited, like, oh my gosh, a spider merchant, let me look at your wares, and then she's trying on all the different armor and making all the da-da-da-da sounds. I thought that was the funniest part with Saria there. And also it was really, really funny too with Rhaenyra, where Kudus is like, what are you doing in a labyrinth or a dungeon or whatever? And she bursts out laughing, and she's like, a dungeon? That's what you all see this as? I guess that makes sense with how Saria's acting. So I just thought it was so funny the way that Rhaenyra wasn't affected by it because of the mask on her face, and she was just laughing at all of them hallucinating. But she gives a mask to Kudus and says, okay, just leave, come back to your senses, put the mask on, and then come back. So, again, really funny how Rhaenyra, again, is usually sort of a sense of reason in all of this, too. She's sort of like a chaotic sense of reason where she just lets all the crazy stuff go on and sits back and laughs at it, but she usually doesn't get caught up too much in it herself. So, really funny the way she serves a purpose there as well. But then they find themselves, they being Kudus and Saria, away from Rhaenyra again, and they're in this hallway, and it was funny finding out that Saria's armor was just a bucket, a pot lid, and a carrot. I thought that was really, really funny. And then we see Sue, sorry I had a hiccup, we see Sue is this giant demon wall, and that was another really, really funny moment. The comedy was just hit after hit this week, or this month. So the comedy, 100% great. Barely any, pretty much no actual fan service or ecchi, but that's beside the point. I'll get into that later. But they run from the demon wall Sue, which was funny, and run into, again, what we can assume is Saria's room, where the pool is, and jump into the water. And once they're in the water, or Meru's room, I mean, with the pool. But once they're in there, Meru pulls them underwater and takes them to this huge hidden underground room that she says her mom had built for her when they were renovating the house underneath the house. So, again, just really funny how she's just hiding this giant underwater room. And Meru, honestly, was really good this chapter as well. And for then, once they're down there, they Meru tells them what happened. She's like, Poppy brought home this strange mushroom girl, which, again, mushroom girl's likely a Matango. That I brought that up when we first saw the silhouettes of the three. I was like, it looks like some kind of beast, some kind of dragon, and some kind of Matango. Because the one looks like it has the dragon wings and also the lizard tail. So I'm thinking this could be some kind of dragon. Not like a dragonoot like Draco, but like an actual dragon. So yeah, I do believe we have a Matango on our hands right now. But she says that Poppy's new friend she brought in released the hallucinogenic spores. And the sequence where we were shown her memories of everybody freaking out and Poppy just spinning around like Poppy's a fairy. And Lala being all serious and Sue turning into the tiny little wall. It was all really, really good and really funny. But Meru wasn't affected because she was using her gills to breathe. So really, that was funny. And then they're like, okay, it'll all be alright. MON's on the way. We're all cool. And then they think about it and they're like, oh wait, a hallucinating Zombina could start a zombie apocalypse. Okay, so we need to stop the Matango before Zombina gets here. So really, really funny. And overall thoughts on it, like, the comedy, like I said, was just hit after hit after hit. The comedy was completely amazing. There was pretty much no fan service or ecchi, but I thought that was actually good and okay. I thought it was kind of refreshing to just have a straight comedy chapter with not that much ecchi or anything. And as far as the story goes, it's not the best we've had. Like, it's nowhere near as good as the Lala Hospital chapter that I thought was an incredible story. But it was still pretty solid, and we made pretty good progress, I think. Even though it was not as fast as some of the previous ones have been. We did, I can't really even say that. We got a lot done. We just took our time getting it done. Also, the art was not as good as what I've come to expect from MonMusu. It was still very, very good. It was still better than the art of most things I read, but it wasn't, I feel like it was a little bit down from a normal MonMusu chapter. Also, I thought in the few pages she was in the chapter, Meru was really great, and usually to me, Meru was just boring. I might upset a few people, but I think Meru is sort of the boring, forgettable member of the house a lot of times, and it was interesting to make her really likable here. Also, the past two chapters, I think, have done a great, great job with Saria's personality, because again, Saria is one of those that I've always liked, but I've always been like, she's kind of one of the more serious, boring types. I don't really like her personality that much. She's just sort of in the background while we have the crazy stuff with Sue or Mia or Rhaenyra going on. And she's one of the less interesting ones, but the past two chapters I have completely been in love with Saria's personality and thought she was hilarious. So the past two chapters have done really well for her character. And lastly, it's not in my, I did make the video, you guys know, and I'm still trying to get it up whenever I can get it finished, about the ones you guys requested, about the 5 MonMusu that I think could join the main groups that we already have in the story. And since I got all my stuff together and recorded it before this chapter, I'm not going to have anything in there about the Mushroom Girl, who we don't know anything about yet, but I'm thinking that it's always a possibility that this Mushroom Girl could be the 8th member of the main characters. or the main harem, because we don't have anything like that. I would personally prefer to see some sort of plant girl random, or rather than a mushroom girl, and I think if she joins, then we're likely not getting a plant girl, at least not for a very long time. So in a bit of a way, I'm hoping that she doesn't join, but I think it's a possibility since she's getting her own storyline at the house. And it's more than one chapter, just her storyline. Because usually when like a new character is introduced, they'll have their little one chapter storyline and then they'll fade off and then come back here and there. And I really like that for the side characters, that they do recur again and again. But and that's what I think is going to happen with Kira. But I'm not sure, since she's having a multi-chapter storyline at the actual residence, I'm not sure if the Mushroom Girl could actually join or not. But either way, all that aside, like I said, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best we've had. Not like even sort of close, because we've had some really good ones, but it was still really good and really enjoyable. So I'm giving it, I feel like it deserves more than an 8, but I'm not sure how much more. So I'll give it 8.25 Demon Wall Sues out of 10. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like if you did like it. Comment down there and tell me what you thought of this chapter and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Monster Musume no Iru Nichijou 12 Beast. We'll be starting the anime for Mahou Shoujo Ikse Keikaku next weekend, I think. So yeah, if you are interested in watching that along with the channel, sub for that too. Follow on Twitter if you want, and I'll try to keep you updated there on stuff for the channel. And that is it. So thank you once again for watching so much, and I'll see you all next time.